Hello, and welcome to session 5 of the Proving Culture Workshop Series, Visualizing Actions for Building a Workplace Quality Culture. In this session, we'll add some color to the various elements of the ISO 10010 standard presented in session 4 of the Proving Culture series. Let's begin with another calibration on a definition of workplace culture. Workplace culture is those shared beliefs, values, and behavioral norms that can shape how people interact and work together in an organization, or better, determine whether employees feel safe to speak up, take risks, and collaborate openly. So that's where we're going on this journey. In this session, we will illustrate 7 actions that demonstrate the presence of a workplace quality culture so that practitioners and auditors both may see examples of observations to train their eyes and their ears to prove culture exists. So these things come right out of ISO 10010 guidance document. I encourage everybody to get a copy of that as an important tool in the toolbox. So let's get started. Let's start with the context of the organization. Anybody familiar with the ISO standards knows that's where all these standards really hit the ground, and it's the shape, size, and color of the box that we're working with, right? So organizations need to identify internal and external factors that might influence the culture and quality outcomes, and vice versa, right? So let's think about this for a moment. An example here is a pharmaceutical company considers both FDA regulations and employee skill levels when shaping its quality culture, ensuring compliance and competence are aligned. So this example demonstrates that the organization understands important objectives for maintaining a strong workplace culture. What drives them? Some of these factors, strong regulatory involvement in that business, and highly skilled employees. So uh, they're dialed into what should be important to them when working on their workplace culture. Here's another example where an organization is trying to determine that desired quality culture. Where do we want to go? Where do we want to get to? What makes sense for the business, right? So you want to define the values, behaviors, and attributes that the organization wants to embed. This should align with mission, vision, and values. So here's an example of a tech firm sets a desired culture of innovation with accountability, encouraging experimentation, but requiring documented risk assessments. So in this example, the organization understands why a culture is important as the risks are high, but they can be a differentiator against the competition. So this is where they need their organization, their employees really dialed in to say, let's look outside the box a lot, but let's have some framework that we feel comfortable every time we look outside the box, right? So classically, we've spoke of this, and you can read about it quite a bit in workplace culture uh, books and literature. Leadership roles and responsibilities. Leaders must model desired behaviors, communicate expectations, and provide resources to sustain quality. We've heard that a lot of times before. Simply put, here is a plant manager consistently attends safety huddles, reinforcing that leadership is visibly committed to quality and safety. So, uh, engagement can be that straightforward. I see this all the time when we're doing audits and we do floor walks, and we can really gauge in where leadership is involved, seeing them in some of the meetings, listening to them, listen and take it all in, and just really being engaged. Highly visible opportunity. So something we should be looking for. So let's talk a little bit about determining the current quality culture. Assess the existing culture. Where are you? Certainly, employee surveys, interviews, audits, observation programs can all be used to identify the strengths and the gaps that an organization has. In this case, let's look at this example of a global manufacturer that conducts employee surveys and finds out while technical quality is strong, great. Communication between the departments is weak. Huh. Okay. So this is an interesting example where reading those interests across the organization demonstrates that the workplace culture needs engagement and needs to focus attention on employee interests to improve culture. So it's that communication. It's saying, this is where we know we could do better. So deciding what will be measured and how becomes very important, just like any other improvement opportunity with any workplace management system. So establishing those metrics that you'll need to track cultural attributes, things like that engagement I just mentioned, error reporting rates, training participation. There's a whole lot of things that you could use as those measures. Here's an example. A logistics company measures the number of near miss reports submitted monthly as an indicator of openness and proactive risk management. So, this organization is understanding that the level of engagement in measuring success can be accomplished by embracing these potential risks and the role of an engaged workforce. Near miss reports, logistics. I've worked in this business sector as well. Uh, there's a lot of that, and there's a lot of activity. So near misses are really important because the level of activity is so high that near misses are really, people have their eyes wide open on that. So monitoring and measuring the current quality culture is very important so you can get that baseline, right? Continuously tracking your progress across chosen metrics to evaluate whether culture is improving or stagnating. So here's a good example. A hospital monitors patient safety incident reporting trends quarterly to ensure staff feel empowered to speak up. What I like about this is measures for demonstrating a workplace culture should include the interests of all stakeholders, including customers, and in this case, patients. So, what really matters if the patients are safe and feel safe, it's going to reflect in the culture of your organization. It's the greatest way in that business. Employees know they're getting their job right, and the quality is there. And then finally, you can monitor, you can measure your current culture. What do? We need to analyze and evaluate that current quality culture so that we can identify ways to improve it. So using data to identify those patterns, root causes, opportunities for improvement, kind of feed insights back into leadership and strategy. Let's tell us what it's telling us. Here's an example of an aerospace firm. They analyze audit findings and they discover that training gaps are linked to recurring errors, prompting targeted learning programs so they could dial into things. So, where are improvements needed? Realizing the importance of shared values through targeted learning can help raise the bar or at least level the performance. Things are targeted. So, we're not throwing blanket statements or blanket measures against the whole organization saying we need to refine some of our training and improve it. And that's what the analysis says about the culture of that organization is specific areas of improvement. So these are the 7 actions that an organization can and should pursue as part of the ISO 10010 guidance document to support ISO 9001 quality management systems. I hope that these, by using some imagery and examples here to illustrate these actions, helps for you and your organization to build an understanding of what we would expect to see when improving culture. So I hope that you follow this series on YouTube and some of the LinkedIn posts that I have for it. Uh, the Proven Culture channel is dedicated to the advancement of workplace culture and psychologically safe workplaces for current and future generations. Uh, Workplace culture will become part of several evolving ISO standards, ISO 9001 for quality and ISO 45001 for workplace safety. So I appreciate your time in watching this short video. I hope these examples help to illustrate and calibrate your eyes and ears as you pursue improving workplace culture.